Welcome to FacingMelsMusic.com podcast, featuring some of the most heartwarming stories from musicians all around the world on FacingMelsMusic.com.
Finally, I get to meet you because we've been trying to.
Yes, at long last.
I know, trying to get together for a long time and chat and about your career and everything. So, a very warm welcome to Facing Mel's Music, and I'm Mel Golding. I have with me Nick John Brennan. Is that correct?
Well, when I use my full name, Nicholas John Brennan, but my friends call me Nick.
Yeah, Nicholas.
So,
Nick. I've been calling you Nick because I've known a few Nicks in my time, and my ex-husband was called Nick.
Oh, really?
Yes, I know.
A few good Nicks and a few bad Nicks.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Something along
Well,
those
you're a friend
lines.
of mine, obviously, so please call me Nick.
I will, absolutely. And you're all the way in Pennsylvania. That's just under New York. I was just looking. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I'm about 15 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Okay. Have you been there like all your life? Is that where you come from?
Well, so when I was up until I was 5, I lived in Somerton, and Somerton is right on the outskirts of Philadelphia. My dad's a retired Philadelphia fireman, so he had to live within the city limits to work there. And then when he retired, we moved to a town called Langhorne, and that's about 10, 15 minutes outside of Philly. So I've been in this area most of my life.
Okay, and has it treated you well?
So far it has, yes. It's had its ups and downs here or there, like everything else. But so far, I mean, the area is beautiful and everything. Everything close by. Yeah, it's been really nice.
Oh, that's great. That's really cool. It's really lovely to have you here because we've been chatting away. We've been sort of texting on and off over the last couple of months or so.
A while now, and it's a pleasure to finally be here.
Yes, because I've got so many questions around your career because you are an actor.
Sure. Yes.
And but I think there's a musician in there too. There's a vocalist in there as well, and I'm really interested in that side too.
Okay.
Let's talk about your acting career, and you've been doing it a while now. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? How old
no
are
problem.
you?
Ask me anything you'd like. 31.
You're 31. You look young for 31.
Thank you.
You'll never guess how old I am.
38.
Nearly 50. I'll be 50 the end of the year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know. That's stress. It's good for you.
Yeah, tell me about it. I was on a cruise a couple months ago with my friends, and I met a few really nice people. The one girl thought that I was 24.
Yeah, you can easily pass for that. It's good to have those genes, right? Young.
Yeah, tell me about
young looks. Right.
The funny thing is, when I was younger, though, when I was in like my late teens or my early 20s, people thought I was when I was 21. They thought, "Oh, you look 25." Like I looked older for my age when I was younger, but now people think that I'm a couple years younger than I really am.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I had the same thing. I was about 14, 15. I was passing for 18. Isn't it funny?
Okay. Right.
Very interesting, useful as well. I don't know what that's
exactly.
But I think it's quite useful, particularly in careers as well. Maybe in the performance side and stuff like that. So
yeah, definitely.
So you got the acting bug, right? From what I've seen in your biography, you got it really young. You were like 3, as far as I can see. A toddler. That's like a baby. Okay, and it's great to read this because you picked an actor that he's just obviously loved by millions. Sean Connery, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So what was it about Sean Connery, and particularly if you can remember, obviously being 3 and those growing years, tell me about what you were drawn to with him.
Well, I remember it like it happened yesterday. So I was 3 years old at the time, and I remember it was Father's Day, and my mother had given my father a copy of Diamonds Are Forever, his sixth James Bond movie that he did as a Father's Day gift. I had no idea what it was. But, at that age, I was already watching movies, watching TV and everything. And I up in my room, I had a TV, I had a VCR, the whole setup and everything. And I said to my mom, "Can I go up in my room and watch this?" She said, "Be very careful. It's your dad's. Don't ruin it." I put it on. I had no idea what it was, no idea what I was getting myself into. I turned it on. The opening sequence, the infamous gun barrel sequence at the beginning of every James Bond movie, when he walked out, turned and fired at the camera and the blood came pouring down the screen, I was blown away. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Interesting.
And the rest of the movie I watched, and his pizzazz, his character, his attitude, his energy that he had. Just he brought such light to this life to the screen. And I'm looking at him. I'm thinking to myself, his wit and his charm and his toughness. I remember thinking, like, I want to be him. He's and then from that point on, I became a total James Bond fanatic.
Wow.
I started watching the other movies, and later on in life, I saw more movies that he had done, and he inspired me right from the start.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting, isn't it? And I guess you're reflecting on him and the characters that he played as well, which were obviously tough guy characters too. But I'm assuming that you're also looking at him. You looked into him more behind the scenes, because you've got in front of the scenes, you've got on screen, but then you've got behind the scenes as well. And I assume that you looked at his character off screen as well and admired. It feels like you admired him.
Oh, very much so. He basically he told it like it was. He was someone who knew what he was, knew what he wanted to be, didn't care what he did or what he said. He just he went out there, and anything he wanted, he would take it. And just his brilliance, his once again, his tough attitude. It's something that I'll remember always. I mean, tragically, when he passed away a few years ago, I remember I was very upset when he passed. My friends were actually saying, "Are you okay?" Like, I know how much he meant to you. I'm like, it's funny because I never had the pleasure of meeting him in real life, but it's one of those things where the day is going to come and everything. It's somebody you looked up to, your idol, and it happened. But
it's sad.
Very, very much. But he's someone that I do think about all the time.
You used that word before, idol. And I guess I was thinking around the idea of role model and mentor almost. And it's very, very usual, isn't it, that actors and musicians kind of gravitate towards one performing artist in particular,
right?
And they sort of draw. There's something about identifying. Do you kind of feel you can identify with parts of Sean Connery, like parts of this man? Do you feel you have these parts, or maybe your father? You mentioned he was a firefighter. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I do take after my dad very, very much. I mean, certain times when I'm doing things, personality-wise, I think to myself, boy, I'm starting to act a whole lot like my father. I'm starting to, I talk like him. I can tell when I'm doing certain things. It's, I really get it from my father. I'm acting a lot like him. And Sean, definitely, certainly parts of his personality I feel like I have as well. Not that I would want to, mimic him in any way, but definitely certain things that he has done in his life. I've seen myself doing, try to be tough, bold, and brave like he was. So yeah, definitely at times I do reflect on him, as you said.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting to sort of like make the links between him, maybe your father, and yourself. Because I think often you see something that you see in another person, it's almost mirroring, reflecting something already within you, and it feels like it's drawing that character, that part of your character out even more. And I'm wondering also, do you feel this has influenced the way you act? Like when you are acting, do you sometimes draw on maybe, let's say, his style, or do you carry that within you and use that in your own acting?
I would say at certain times, yes, depending on whatever role I have, maybe certain facial expressions, certain character traits, or anything that he's done in his movies. That's what I do with a lot of actors that I've followed for years now. I would try to, look at their acting skills, and I would try to learn from them. Like, all right, you know what? That's a good tip for maybe I could do this with a character in a movie that I'm doing. I can maybe do the same thing. Because nobody wants to get in front of a camera and look like they're half asleep, look like they're dull and not acting. But yeah,
you just described me. That's how I feel right now. Half asleep.
Hey, we all trust me. We all have our days. Believe me.
Oh, I know. It's hard though.
Yes, but definitely, yeah. There are plenty of times where I look at him and I try to take his certain methods he has and bring them to the table myself.
Well, that's perfect. That's great. And I think it's normal, it's natural, and it doesn't mean to say you're mimicking and copying. You're just drawing on these elements. You know,
Right.
it's the same in singing as well. Like, I mean, I'm a singer, obviously.
Right.
And you know, my idol was Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. Okay, so I have like a mix of the two. I consider myself very much a mix of the two, vocally and in expression, and I think it's important. I think it's good to have that, but then you develop your style from that, don't you? I mean, you still develop your own style, I guess. Definitely. You know, so let's come into some of your acting actually. So okay, as far as I can see, you've played a couple of. Are you drawn to horror movies by any chance? Because
I figured that would come up.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the work I've done already, most of the work actually, I've been very fortunate to have given to me. A lot of the parts I've had, I didn't have to audition for. When I first started out, for the first couple of years, I worked with the same crew. It was a family-owned company, production company in Philly. And then as I branched out more, I met more people and everything. As mere happenstance, a good amount of those things happen to be horror movies or sci-fi horror, what have you. And the movie I did in 2021, Human Hibachi, that was a horror movie. And I spoke to the director. He had me audition for the lead part, and I was very fortunate to get it. Yeah, most of the stuff I've done so far is drama, sci-fi horror, a little bit of both. But I do have a tendency to play the villain a good amount of times.
I've noticed that. I did take a look.
Yeah, and you're
quite scary when you hold the gun.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad I could pass off as threatening.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. No, there was a scene. I think I wonder if it was the Decade. I can't remember which one it was now. Actually, I don't know. There's a scene where there's a woman in a chair.
Yes,
what movie? What was that?
That was a movie I did also in 2021 that summer. It was a movie called Benita.
Benita, that's it.
Yes, it was filming in Philly, and that was the trailer promo. And I play a kidnapper. And I'm sitting there and I'm holding a gun and I'm basically saying like, hey, I have no choice but to do this. You're stuck with me now, and just try to behave yourself before you make me do something I'm going to regret.
yeah, menacing.
Yes.
Brilliant. How does it feel to play those parts? I mean, do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it very much. I mean, any kind of part that I'm offered, that doesn't matter to me. Acting's acting. That's part of the beauty of this business. I'll play any character that comes along, whether it be someone who's totally menacing, total goofball. But playing a villain is good, I think, because when you're in a movie or a TV show and you're the type of person you are as a person in real life, and you think to yourself, wow, I get to play this type of role in a movie, and it's like, this is the exact opposite of who I am in real life. So I could really go to town with this and have some fun with it, because I know that I'm only acting. This isn't who I am as a person. I could take it to the extreme. Like, I know I could be as mean as I want because it's acting. You're on camera, and that's the beauty of it.
It really is. It almost feels like it's a playing field for the alter ego to come out.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like you have multiple personalities on camera at certain times, and like, all right, my personality in this movie is going to be this, so it's time for that person to come out.
Yeah.
And then when they say cut and the camera stops rolling, then I just turn back into myself.
And can you do that? Like,
yes.
You can.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's like as soon as they yell action, I immediately get into character, and as soon as they yell cut, like, all right, well, that was a good take. Every time I'm doing a scene that involves something physical, I say to them, like, you all right? You good? You sure? Like, I make sure everybody's okay. I certainly don't want anybody to get hurt. And like in that scene, I had to. Like, I went up to her in the trailer, as you saw, and I grabbed her by the hair. I pointed the gun at her face. Yeah. And we were shooting that scene, and she was sitting there all tied up. I'm like, "Are you okay back there? Like, you sure your arms aren't getting tired or anything?"
Yeah. Do you want a cup of coffee?
There was a scene where I had actually brought her food I
Oh,
bought her a
really?
sandwich,
How
and
interesting.
I had to,
Yeah.
give her a piece and everything. And there were certain times
Okay.
she had some hair caught
Oh,
in her mouth, and I'm like, oh, you got some, and she would ask me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, make sure you're all good there. And I was trying to take care of
yeah.
her as best I could while she was all tied up.
Yeah. How interesting. Very, very
Yeah.
interesting. In terms of your yeah, your acting, I mean, did you have training? Did you go to any special schools for this?
Ac- Actually, no, I
Yeah.
didn't yet.
Okay.
I gave it some thought a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
There was a studio in Atlantic City, right outside of Atlantic City.
Okay.
West Barron Ryan Studios. They actually got in touch with me after a friend of mine got me a job as an extra
Hmm.
on the set of a Halle Berry movie that was filmed in
Oh,
late
yeah.
2019.
Right.
And she said, "Hey, they gave us a call. They want us to come down there and check things out and see if
Mm.
we're interested in maybe taking some classes." And
Mm.
this was not too long before COVID broke out, and
Yeah.
so things kind of went on, and I kind of
Right.
drifted away from it after a little
Right.
while. But I um,
Mm.
I would still give it a strong possibility of taking classes in the future,
Yeah.
because a lot of my
Yeah.
friends are taking classes. And
Mm.
the tough thing now is
Mm.
I've been trying to find myself an agent for a long time
Right.
now, and
Okay.
a lot of the agents that I speak to,
Mm.
they they would love to represent me as a client, but the thing is they only represent students, so
Exactly.
I would have to take one of their courses, and
Ah, okay.
that's kind of the drawback. But
Right.
in
Okay.
the like sometime after the summer,
Okay.
once the summer clears up, if an opportunity
Yeah.
comes along, if I were to take a like a 1 month course, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it.
Definitely, because as you were speaking there, I was just thinking in terms of connections, because I think that's what
Yes,
you're talking about here,
correct.
and it's more, I wonder if I'm right in saying this. It's just a theory, really. I'm just thinking about these schools, acting schools, drama, music
Mm,
schools. It gets you into some sort of a system where
right.
you're seen and you get known. And I'm just feeling if you're not part of that, then it must be maybe, I don't know, is it more challenging? I don't know. You tell me, is it more challenging?
Well,
Goodness knows. I don't know.
I think it depends on the what school you go to.
Right.
Certainly when you go to an acting school, there are people that you meet. The more contacts, the better. Um, and
Yeah.
A good
Mm.
way of getting yourself out there also is knowing where to find the right type of work, hoping it gets on the right platforms.
Right.
Um, but
Yeah.
honestly, again, I think it depends on the school that you go to. To
Yeah.
whoever you meet there.
Mm.
You meet more connections there. So I think,
Mm.
yeah, people that do take acting classes have a better shot. Um,
Exactly. Mm.
they're able to get work better, and they're able to get themselves
Mm.
an agent. So that's
Right. Yeah.
I'm still kind of I'm still on the hunt for it. I'm
Mm.
still on the market. Hopefully, over the next couple of months, I can get one. But
Yeah.
we'll just have to see what
Yeah.
happens there.
Well, you've certainly made a good start without all of that. I mean, it's self-taught. I feel self-taught. I'm self-taught. I didn't go
Right,
to
exactly.
any school. I believe the best school is actually doing it. In terms of
Yes,
music, for me, it was live performances, getting out, public exposure. That was the
right.
best learning. And you've just dived right in there. And good for you. Well done for that.
Thank you very
Well
much.
done. Congratulations on that, and be proud of that. And you can join courses and get yourself into acting schools. You can
Right.
hone in on your craft and
Mhm.
simultaneously build up connections while you're there too.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely. And
it feels like, yeah, that's what you're doing. Yeah.
that's the thing about it. It's
Mm.
never too late to do something like that. You could do it much later on in life.
Yes. Yeah,
That's the beauty about it. But
it is. Yeah.
the the one thing I look at is it's I'm at a point now where like I'm 31 years old, and
Mm.
I'm trying to get as much done and get myself out there as much as
Mm.
possible, because I don't want to wait too long. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's
Do you feel age has got some? Is it? Do you think age goes against you? I mean, it's probably a silly question, but I wanted to openly talk about it because I think it's something it does in music, and it has done. Certainly in my career, it has done as well.
right.
Does it have? Does it play a factor into the acting
Well,
profession, or for you?
I think in my case, if I had gotten started 10 years ago, I think it would have played out better because I would have gotten started sooner. I would have had more
Hmm.
opportunities, more time. I probably would have had more work under my belt. But
Hmm.
the problem was, as soon as I graduated high school,
Hmm.
I got a job and everything. I've been working at that same job now
Yeah.
for 12 years while I'm
Right.
trying to work on my acting. But the thing is, I was working 5 nights a week. I was making good
Yeah.
money, and I really just kind of drifted away from it. And then finally, I said to myself, "All right, you know what? It's time for me to actually meet some people, get serious
Hmm.
about it, because I threw it all.
Hmm.
I put it off for so many years." So
Right.
yeah, back then it was really my own fault for not getting started sooner. I mean, you take so many actors who get started when they're kids, um,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
that would have been great. But but
Hmm.
they say better late than never, um,
Yes.
which usually is true. But
Yeah.
I still regret not getting started sooner.
Right. It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting. You can never really tell, though, can you? Because the things is that, and you look at some, I don't know, I look at some actors and I think, I look at them when they're younger, and then I look
Mm,
at them later in life, acting later, like in their 40s or something, and I think there's something richer about being the older actor. Um,
true.
do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? There's a
Yes.
developed sense of self. There's a maturity around
Right.
that. And I think there's this more, because you mentioned something about finding yourself in. I'll come to that about influencing other people.
Right.
And it feels like by the time you get to that point, you've actually found yourself. You're solid within, and maybe you're actually offering something different. So what you might be offering as an actor now in your skills and how you are on screen now compared to 10 years ago, you're
Mm.
probably streets ahead now.
That's a really good point. You take
Mm,
later on in life, people.
mm,
It's never too late for somebody to
exactly.
mature and to grow up.
Yeah.
I feel like if that is a good point. If it happened 10 years
Mm,
ago, my maturity level wouldn't be as good as it is now. So I probably would have
exactly.
maybe
Yeah.
uh, done a few things that would have been
Mm.
not necessarily out of character or anything to the extreme, but I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have been able to handle it so good as I handle it right now, because of
Yes.
my younger age.
Yes.
So and
Mm,
that could be a blessing in its own, because I certainly wouldn't want to show
mm,
up on set, make a fool out of myself, and
yeah.
just do something stupid.
Yeah. Mm,
And but the beauty about being on set is,
mm,
I no matter what job it is, no matter where it is, or how long I'm going to be on set, it's a job that I'm always excited to show up for.
mm.
It's to me, it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like you're going out to have fun, and
That's great.
that's
Yeah.
another thing I love about this business. Because it just
Yeah.
you have fun doing it. You forget that it's work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, but yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, because there's something you mentioned earlier about, I think, going back to the role modeling and the mentoring thing about
hmm
you wish to do the same for someone else someday, about being that influence that Sean Connery was to you. You
oh
wanted to
yes,
be the same and pass that forward, let's say, to
right.
other people. And I wondered if actually you could talk about that. I know we're going slightly off on a tangent here, but if you
hmm
could tell me, because you put in there about finding him or herself the difficulties, and it feels like I wonder if you're talking from experience about difficulties in finding yourself and how having that role model or person there or influencer actually helps you to find yourself. Is that what you meant when I read that? And that's kind of what you want to be for your fans, let's say.
Right. If
Yes.
I ever get a fan base someday,
Yes.
um,
Positive thinking, Nicholas.
yes, I try my best whenever I can. But
Yeah.
yes, again, even when I was three
Yeah.
years old, it was right then and there that I knew I wanted to
Yeah.
be an actor. I found my craft in
Yeah.
life because so many kids at a young age,
Yeah.
they say they want to be a cowboy, astronaut, or
Yeah.
a ballerina and everything. And then we
Yeah.
always, some people aren't sure what to do career-wise much later on in
Mm.
life, which is perfectly fine. But
Yes.
I certainly wanted to, at a young age, I knew what I wanted to do, and I thought to myself, all right, you know what?
Mm.
There's really nothing else that appeals to me, and
Mm.
I hopefully that once I get further along in my career, it will inspire people who watch my work, or
Yeah.
any work that I'm in with other actors that I work with, it'll inspire them to do the same, maybe take in the same craft, or just inspire them to, like if I play a character, for example, it might inspire them to take on that profession, to do whatever they want in life. It's if they don't want to be an actor or a musician of any type, okay, that's great. Just whatever makes you happy in life, just take that and go out there and try to accomplish it.
Feels like you're really supportive, and support really means a lot to you. That support and encouragement in a positive way, but also led by them, supported by you, or that's the way you roll, is what I'm hearing.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just curious also about your family, are your family in the arts? Was anybody in the arts, in music, or any form of arts at all?
My mom actually did some acting back when she was in high school, in her high school years, but she never took it seriously as a career path.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of cousins. I had one cousin in particular who used to do plays back in school, but unfortunately, my family and I don't speak anymore. It's a long
sorry
story.
to hear that.
That's all right. Thank you. My parents and I, we had a falling out with them, and just.
Right.
That's a very long story in its own, but unfortunately, we cut communications with them.
Right.
But it is what it is. And my one cousin Julie, she did plays back in the day.
Right.
I'm trying to think of somebody else. I'm sure there are a few other family members that I'm forgetting, but as far as direct family goes, I'm pretty much on my own.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Do you have siblings, brothers or sisters?
I don't. I'm an only child.
You're an only child. Okay. What's that like? What's that like, being an only child?
I think it's great. You have the whole house to yourself. You don't
Fantastic.
have privacy. Nobody barging in on you when you're trying to hang out with your friends or bothering you. But the thing is, I love being an only child, but I do have very close friends who I think of as like a brother or a sister. Two friends in particular. Ross and Becca, they're two of my best friends. She's been like my little sister for a long time now. And when I met Ross several years later, he's become like a big brother to me. He's older than me.
Right.
He actually calls me his little big brother, because I'm significantly taller than he is.
Yes.
So even though I'm younger than him, he says, I call you my little big brother.
Oh, you're about 6'2", aren't you?
I am,
6'2"?
yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I did look at your profile, I see. Okay. Right. So that's great. Okay, yeah, because there's different feelings around that, some but then I guess, if you don't know, you don't know what you're missing, really. I mean, you don't miss it because you never had it. So
exactly, right.
So, and that's okay. So
it's like when you're it's like someone who lived like whenever I watch a Western and I see how people lived back in the 1800s, I'm like, how did they go on without TV or cell phones or this and that? And I'm like, well, you know what? You're living back in that time period before any of that stuff came out. You wouldn't know what you're missing.
I know.
So.
My daughter, I have a little girl. My daughter, she's 10 now, and she asked me, Mum, she says, did you have phones did you have a phone when you were a little girl? Of course not. No, not back in the 80s.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No. And she's like,
telephone, but not a cell phone.
It might have been attached to the wall, maybe on a wire,
Right. And the dial that you had to spin around to get the numbers.
And
and
you had to wait forever. I mean, the worst number I think was 0.
Yeah, all the way around and all the way back.
Yes. But it's exactly what you're saying here. You didn't miss it. We didn't miss it, but we used imagination as well. I mean, I imagine.
Right.
Did you, as a child, you would have played with your friends, and did you kind of play act? Actually, now that I'm on that.
Actually, all right. Funny you should ask. I still do it to this day. There'll be times when I have certain friends. All right, I have another good story for you after I finish this. There'll be a couple of my friends. They're really big into movies and TV shows like I am, and they know like I pretty much I could take a couple of good amount of TV shows and movies that I watch all the time, and I can quote so many lines in those movies and shows because I've seen them so many times. It's like a photogenic memory. Yeah. And a couple of my friends who have the same thing, we'll just start, we'll say a random line from a movie and we'll start acting out that scene as if it's, just for fun. Yeah. Yes. Maybe not actually physically getting up and acting out the scene in front of an audience, but we'll start saying those lines back and forth because we both know the movie or the show by heart. Exactly. The script by heart. And that's one of the things I love doing.
Yeah,
But
that's natural. You're a natural.
And that being said, when I first got introduced to James Bond, for a long time, up until I was 5 or 6, there were certain fight sequences in some of the movies that my parents and I, they're big Bond fanatics themselves. It runs in the family.
Yes.
And there would be a scene in one of the movies, like a hand-to-hand combat scene. I would actually just, out of nowhere, I would get up and I would start acting it out as it was going on the TV. And I would just, I remembered every move, every step of it, and just for fun, I would act it out.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Yeah. That's great. Do you have just a question here off the cuff as you're talking about Bond? I mean, how would you feel one day if you could land the role of James Bond himself?
Oh, that is my number one dream role. Honestly, if I got the part and I didn't do any other acting for as long as I lived, if you said, all right, you got the part of James Bond, but that's the only acting you're ever going to do for the rest of your life, no one else is ever going to hire you, you know what? I don't care. All right, I'll take it.
Well, there's love and dedication for you.
That would be such a dream come true. And I think to myself, you know what? I'd do it for free. I really don't care.
Well, that's passion right there. Yeah. That's real. I mean, that's passion. Yeah, love it.
I mean, I love that character so much, and I just want a chance to try to play it to the best of my ability if I'm fortunate enough to ever get the role someday, and also to carry out Sean Connery's legacy, and also the other former Bond actors who left their own legacy as well.
Yeah.
So just to be able to carry on the tradition, having the torch passed on to me, it would be a huge blessing. But who knows if that's ever going to come along.
Well, you got to keep going. Never say never. Absolutely, never say never.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, never say never. So it feels like, okay. I was just thinking as you were talking there about clothes. And I was thinking about like what you like wearing, and of course, when I think of James Bond, I'm thinking of the suit. Are you comfortable in a suit, or are you more like this? I noticed you got an AC/DC shirt on, so I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
I have a lot of different looks. There are times I love dressing up like a like a rocker guy, because I'm big into hard rock and heavy metal. I also love classical music as well. R&B stuff, some retro stuff from the 70s and 80s. A lot of the music I listen to, I get from my parents. And there's other times, like if I go out to a nice restaurant, I love wearing long pants, a nice button-down shirt, or a sweater in the wintertime. I love wearing suits anytime I can, and especially a tuxedo. I do have a tuxedo, and I try to wear that whenever I can. But I love dressing up for occasions. I also love dressing down, in sports clothes whenever there's a big game on or whatever. I'm a big sports fan. So, but pretty much any type of wardrobe. I'm pretty flexible, but I do love dressing nice.
Yeah, great. And I'm feeling this, and with hearing your voice as well, there's such a strong sense of masculinity with you.
Thank you.
Is that how you want to be seen?
I would hope so. My girlfriend actually, she tells me, that's what she loves about me. Just like every time I talk, and I'll send her a voice message over text, and she'll say she loves hearing my voice because it's so masculine and strong. And I'm like, honey, I'm just being me. But thank you for telling me that. It's just my voice. I don't think of it as anything special, but I very much appreciate it whenever someone says so. Yes.
And they notice it. Yeah, and I guess that kind of matches the elements of the Sean Connery that you love, which is also that manly man, So that's what I'm hearing here and sensing. So let's move on to music, and you mentioned rock. I love rock too. Hard rock. We've got classic rock as well.
Yes.
Classical. You're talking my language now.
Alrighty, perfect.
So, you do sing. And
yes, correct.
I'm asking you to, obviously, you're going to give me something so that I can actually play eventually.
Absolutely.
That which would be amazing. I mean, have you had any kind of a career in singing? What's your experience or any kind of history in terms of singing, performances? What have you done?
Well, first of all, I apologize for not having the video that I told you about ready for today. If I'd have known that the video was too long to send, I would have had him airdrop it to me last weekend when I was hanging out with him. So I promise I'll get that to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, don't worry.
So in the past, in elementary school, I was in chorus a good amount of years, and then over the years, as my voice got deeper, I became a baritone. In middle school, I performed in musicals, and I had singing parts. High school, I really didn't do too much singing. I majored in drama all through high school, but I sadly never did any musicals in high school. I kind of drifted away from that for a bit. And after high school, the only singing I really did was karaoke night, just for fun. So I've never performed in a band or anything of the such. It'd be a lot of fun to do. Don't get me wrong, but I just never had that opportunity presented to me, or ever made an effort to go for it.
Yeah, and it feels like you took because you concentrated more on the acting, and that's where your efforts were going down there. So it's understandable. Is it something that you feel you would like to look at in terms of maybe forming a rock band or performing your own music and recording? Is that something that you've thought about?
It is. I mean, acting really is my passion, but also being a singer has many benefits too. And singing is something that I really, really enjoy. Either doing music by myself or performing with a band, doesn't matter to me. I definitely have thought about it as a side venture.
Yes, absolutely.
And you think about it, you have so many phenomenal artists who are now starting to do acting work. Lady Gaga, for example. They're phenomenal at it. So either it's an actor turned singer, or a singer turned actor, actress. It goes both ways. Someday, if that opportunity ever came along, definitely.
Yeah, that's great. I always say that. I always say there's a bit of a singer and an actor. There's a bit of an actor and a singer.
Right.
They cross, don't they? And of course, when it comes to singing and performing, there's a lot of acting in that, it's a lot of performance in that. And I'm just thinking that if you love singing and you love music, I'm just thinking for your acting career as well, I think it could actually enhance that. I think you could link it somehow if you could manage to find the time, of course, because there's just so much to do. And I think you are working, aren't you? You said you were working for 12 years in the same role.
Yes, I am.
What are you doing now?
I'm a stock associate at a food store. I'm only part-time. And I only work part-time during the week. I work night shifts, actually. And on the weekends is when I do a lot of whenever I do my acting work. All the projects that I've had, they film on the weekend, which is perfect.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But now, until my other projects that I have lined up actually start, I could go in for extra shifts if I really want to. This job is just it's a stepping stone until I get my big break. Hopefully that day comes along eventually. But for now, it's just a job to make money, pay the bills, what have you.
Yes. Oh, I know it. Don't we all know it? We all have to do the same thing, and that's absolutely fine. Let's go back to the music a minute. Who are your favorite music artists then? You've got obviously AC/DC. I'm assuming this
is definitely one of my. I would say this is number 2 on my top 3 favorite bands. My number 1 is Pink Floyd. Long time Pink Floyd fan, and I take it you are as well.
Yes. Well, the stuff I'm doing actually is slightly Pink Floyd, but female.
Okay, all right.
Which is going to be another little twist. So yes. Oh my goodness, classic.
Yeah. Absolutely. I would have given anything to see them in concert, but
right. Yeah.
But Pink Floyd definitely number 1, AC/DC number 2, number 3. That's tied between Metallica, because I'm a big metalhead. I've listened to them for a long time. Them and Kiss is another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
They're pretty close.
Cool.
So they would be my top 3, and then I love bands like Led Zeppelin. Who else? Then you talk about classic rock like Eric Clapton. I grew up listening to him. I love Eric Clapton. And then I grew up listening to, a lot of the music my mom was into, like Aretha Franklin, Donna Summer, and Whitney Houston, as you said. I love listening to her as I grew up. And classical music, I'm a big Frank Sinatra fan. Love him.
Fantastic.
Yes, that's actually some of the songs that I sing at karaoke night are Frank Sinatra songs, and then other times it'll be an AC/DC song, whatever I'm in the mood for.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it is, definitely.
It's great. The fact that you can look at, you're drawn to such extreme genres, but they. I guess it's melody.
Yes.
You're looking at strong melodies, and I always say a great melody can be played on one instrument, so the genre can be built around that anyway. So so it's interesting there. But yeah, you're looking at the big band stuff with Sinatra, the jazz sort of almost as well, because I think you like jazz as well. Is that right? Because I think you mentioned jazz.
Yes, absolutely.
In your biography as well. Yeah, that's it. Amazing. So, okay, so that's where you're at musically. So you have quite clear direction in terms of where you would want to go musically, if you were to put your own band together, maybe performing.
Definitely, lot of different options.
Right. Okay. And do you ever think about doing original stuff, like your own original music? Or is this
I would love to.
You would. Okay.
Yeah, but the problem there is, unlike yourself, I don't have the gift of being a songwriter. I can't come up with my own lyrics or think of anything right on the spot. That's unfortunately, I don't have that talent like you do. And it's like, all right, I would love to, but the thing is, I can't. As far as the song goes, the song name, what it's going to be about, what the lyrics are going to be about, I can't come up with anything.
Maybe I can help you there, Nicholas.
There you go.
Maybe I can. I'm actually writing a song, and I've had you in mind for it.
No kidding.
Interesting. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that would be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm writing stuff which is it is rock. It's sort of alternative rock. So Kings of Leon style rock. That sort of a bit more modern, up to date rock.
Okay.
But then I've also got contemporary classical stuff, and it can go into Evanescence slightly. And then I've got R&B.
Yes.
Evanescence is wonderful. I've got soaring melodies. Maybe we can talk about this, after this podcast and have a little chat, because that's something I want to do actually, is to work with other artists and write songs for other artists.
Okay.
And really get to know and draw out lyrical content that would be yours. And I can help put that into a song, and then it's really yours. It's not just imposed on you. It is yours. It's coming from you. But I can help structure that. Does that sound interesting?
I really appreciate that. Yes, very much. Actually, one of the things I do when I sing, actually, another one of my I believe I have it listed on my website, is I've been known for doing impersonations of cartoons, movie characters, real people. It doesn't matter. And when I sing, for example, if I sing an AC/DC song, I try to train my voice to sound like either Bon Scott or Brian Johnson, whatever song it may be. They're both lead singers, or Frank Sinatra. Like I basically try to. Certain people have said, why don't you sing it in your own way, your own voice? And I said, yeah, but then it doesn't sound authentic. Like I like singing that person's song in their voice, like representing them, like an Elvis impersonator.
That's interesting.
So,
if you're going to do your stuff, you'll have to do it in your voice. Yours.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like anything original would have to be my voice.
It will be yours, and that takes time to develop, but
yeah, it does.
It can take time. It does usually take time if that is solely what you do. That is your career, is to be a musician. Goodness, it took me years to find my voice too. And I used to sound too much like Michael Jackson, too much like Whitney. And I used to do Aretha Franklin stuff. I can do all of that stuff and sound like them. And that's a mimicking skill. Okay. Yeah. But to find your voice where you sound like you, that takes practice, and I think it also takes a good producer as well to help bring that out of you when you're actually in the recording studio. That's what I feel. So it's a bit of both. It's a bit of live performances with your own original stuff, and also being in the studio to actually help nurture that. And there's ways of doing that. I won't go into that, but I mean, that's what I had. I had the privilege of working with some amazing producers, brilliant producers, who helped me find my voice.
I understand what you're saying perfectly, and I feel like if I sang a song, the only time I actually sang a song originally by myself that was my own voice is when I was doing musicals in middle school. Whenever I would have a music solo for a part that I was playing, I would use my own voice, and I would listen to the song, and my music teacher would tell me, here's without the lyrics, here's what the song sounds like. So when you're looking at the sheet of music, just try to sing it and go along with it. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Yeah. it's a work in progress, and I haven't done anything like that in such a long time.
Right.
But I feel like it would take a lot for someone to find their own voice. It's there somewhere, but it's like it's hard to get out.
Well, your voice is already your speaking voice, and as you're speaking now to me, that's you. That's no one else.
Right. Exactly.
So it's putting that, into a musical format.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also depends. I'd have to hear you because I haven't heard you sing yet, which is fine. But it depends where you're singing from. Do you have a chest voice? If you come from the stomach, if you're coming lots of, from the throat and moving around, and how do you sing? And that's what I'd need to hear, and you draw it out from there. Does that make sense?
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. The song that my friend recorded me doing while I was on my cruise is an Elton John song.
Okay.
And another guy I love listening to.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yes. And he once again I tried to get my voice to sound like his. But certain people whose music I sing, my voice, you could still kind of tell it's me, but at the same time you can tell it's them. But other times, like if I'm really trying to hit a high note, it sounds like somebody else, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of times, like I can make my voice go nice and deep, or I am at certain times able to hit a high note, but it has to be the right kind of high note for me to hit. Like I can't. You take Disturbed, another one of my favorite metal bands. Oh my God, who's the lead singer? David. Oh my God, I'm blanking here.
That's all right. Don't worry. I'm trying to figure out who that Disturbed. Yeah. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, it's his last name's on the tip of my tongue, and I listen to him all the time.
From Chicago, vocalist David Draymond.
David Drainer, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to anybody out there who's watching. I apologize.
Listen, I didn't know. Okay, that's fine.
That's okay. David Draymond. He has one heck of a voice, but he's able to project his voice and hit the high notes, but he's able to yell at the top of his lungs at certain high notes. And I feel like if I had done that, my voice would kind of squeak. Like I wouldn't be able to get my voice to hit those high notes the way he does. Right. So certain times it works, certain times it doesn't. So it all depends.
Yeah. It does. You know your limitations, and I guess singing all the songs that you do, you know your limits. It's important to know your limits. It's important to know your strengths, weaknesses, absolutely, and you work within the parameters of highlighting the strengths, of course, but yes, absolutely, no one wants to show the weaknesses, do they?
No.
Not at all. So that's very interesting. So that's something that we can talk about absolutely with in terms of songs and where you want to go with that, But it's and I guess what I was thinking there was the influencing part. You're talking about. I think you're talking about there reading like the dots or not having the influence of a voice. Not having the influence of a voice helps to find your own voice in that. So of course, when it is your own original songs, there's no one you're copying. It's just you. You are the original.
Exactly.
You are the original. So however you sing it, that's the way it's going to go.
Right, and whatever type of song you're doing, whether it has a fast upbeat tone, whether it has a slower tone, you just you think of yourself, all right, who's for this type of song, who's a singer and of a song or a band that I could think like, all right, this song I could take that and make it my own when I'm doing this type of song. Depending on the tone of the song as it is.
Yeah. Yes.
So definitely.
Yeah, that would be something really interesting for you to do. I feel quite excited for you on that front with the music side. I think it's quite exciting, But let's go back to your other career, the other side of acting. Is there anything you're working on at the moment, or what hopes do you have, or anything brewing, or you just you're looking for an agent at the moment? Is that where you're at right now?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Over the last couple of weeks, I've tried reaching out to as many people as I can, seeing if they could recommend somebody. The last movie I did was last summer. I have to actually add it to my website. It needs a little bit of an update. I do have a show lined up sometime in the fall that's going to be filming in North Carolina. I got part of it. It's a drama series, and the writer and the director of it. She owns the production company down there.
Right.
I just got in touch with her the other day. She finished writing 2 episodes, so
Right.
it's moving along.
Nice.
And so I have that lined up. There was a movie that I was supposed to film back in April. I had a small part on, and it unfortunately got delayed.
Okay.
So I have that coming up, and aside from that, not too much else on the horizon. Hopefully, with more possibilities coming my way.
Yes.
But yeah, kind of waiting to see what happens.
Plugging away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good. Great. Good. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, and it's been wonderful talking with you and getting to know you, and hopefully, I don't know, we might even work together. Who knows?
I would love that, and
who knows?
And once again, thank you so much for having me on. It's been great to finally meet you and
yeah,
talk with you as well.
amazing.
The news, headlines, and shadows.